everyone, welcome to this week's Halton Hills housing update. So not as dramatic of a week in terms of sales versus new listings, and the inventory is going in the right direction this week, so we'll see how that pans out. But looking at last week's numbers, Georgetown had 15 sales, so that's nowhere near the 20 plus we've been seeing on those really high weeks. So I mean, stable amount of sales, but we only had 16 new listings. So we have seen, again, like last week was 21 new listings. So we didn't have massive amounts of sales, but we also didn't have massive amounts of new inventory. So nothing crazy happening in Georgetown. Acton had 0 sales. This is the first week, I think, in months that we've seen not even a single sale in Acton. So that's kind of interesting. That's going to be like a trend I'm going to see if it continues, because as things come up in Georgetown, like we've talked about, people kind of slow down on looking in Acton if there's stuff in Georgetown. But there's kind of been no stuff in Georgetown, so I'm surprised to see Acton slowing down, especially because there's a lot under $1 million there. So it will be interesting to watch those Acton numbers. Another notable number is they did have 6 new listings, which is a very big week for listings in Acton. So kind of an interesting shift in the market there. Glen Williams had 1 sale and no new listings. Limehouse had no sales but 2 new listings. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but 2 listings in Limehouse in 1 week is a lot. The rural market had 2 sales and 1 new listing, so pretty balanced there. So something of note, last week there was 18 sales in all of Halton Hills. 14 of them were over $1 million. We talked last week about how that price point was dead and then all of a sudden just like lit up. And now the far majority, like 14 of 18 over $1 million, is a pretty surprising week in my opinion. Just that's going to be pulling our average price point up in May for sure. But we have quite a few properties available under $1 million, especially between Georgetown and Acton. So to see so many selling over $1 million and not a massive amount under $1 million is, again, just something interesting we're going to watch to see if that trend kind of tells us anything. The other thing is, of the 18 that sold, 11 of them sold over asking. So really busy market right now and tons of bidding wars, and it's just kind of a sign of the times. And so this week we did have inventory rise, but this could be the start of what normally happens, you know, a few weeks ago, where we see inventory pile on through the spring. So we'll be watching this closely. Looking at our active inventory, all of Halton Hills was at 98 last week, and it's up to 108 active listings this week. So we sat under that 100 mark for a couple of weeks. So to be back over 108 is going in the right direction for buyers. But I can tell you, I have a lot of active buyers in the area right now, and we are seeing nonstop bidding wars, like 7 offers, 10 offers. Like, we're just seeing some really high numbers, which means there are a ton of buyers that want to be buying and they just can't get anything. And then we start to see some stupid sale prices. So I don't know where this is going to go, but it's not great for buyers at the moment. And again, if you are a seller, there's a ton of demand right now. Like, get your homes on the market. Georgetown this week is up from 53 to 57 active listings. So still sitting very, very low in Georgetown, like very low. 57 is not enough. We got up to 140 there in the peak of the market last year. So sitting very low at 57. Looking at our price points, under 800,000 is up from 8 to 12 active listings, but 10 of those 12 are condo or condo townhomes. So that freehold under 800 is starting to disappear again. It's mostly going to be condo products. 800 to $1 million is up slightly from 6 to 7. Definitely not enough listings in that price point. That is very low for a very high demand price point. 1 to 1.5 million is up from 13 to 14 active listings. That price point is seeing a lot of listings coming up, but it's seeing a lot of listings sell. And so 14 is a far cry from the 50 plus that we were seeing in that price point. So inventory very low in that pocket, especially with how many sales we're seeing under 1.5 million. It's kind of that 1 to 1.5 million. So 1.5 million plus is down this week from 26 to 24 active listings. And again, things are selling over 1.5 million. All of this is really interesting because it was really a price point that was like dead. I might go back and count how many, I'll be able to do it, I feel like, on two hands, how many houses between like October and March that sold over $1.5 million, because it is like almost none. And to see this price point moving again is kind of a sign that the market is going in a good direction. So looking at Acton this week, Acton is up from 11 to 16 active listings. So Acton is starting to see that inventory pile on. And like I said, there's quite a few. There are, of those 16, 12 of them are under $1 million. So we should be seeing the sales pick up in Acton just given the price points that are available there. But right now, inventory is sitting kind of high, and not actually high because we were like 25, between 20 and 25 for long, but compared to where we've come from the last few weeks, I would say 16 is a surprisingly high number given how many are available under $1 million. Glen Williams this week is down from 7 to 6 active listings. Limehouse is up from 1 to 3 active listings. So it doesn't sound like a lot, but 3 listings in Limehouse is quite a bit. And the rural market remained the same at 26 active listings. The thing with the rural market is the price points start at 1.35 million. So you definitely need to have that higher budget to be transacting in the rural market right now. And yes, we're starting to see it pick up in town. So I am curious to see if we see it pick up in the rural market. Like we did have 2 sales this week there. So we'll just be seeing if the trend of that higher price point stuff moving is something that's going to continue here. So overall this week, we had a good amount of new listings, I would say, compared to sales. The inventory is not like coming on in mass amounts, but we're at least seeing some new listings hitting the market. There was relatively low sales this week. We have over 10 listings in the sold conditional status, so those will likely firm up. But we saw, like, there was a house, it was a 2-bedroom house. Yes, it had a basement apartment, but it got $1.1 million on like not a super sought after street. And that's the kind of pricing we would have seen on that in like the spring market of last year. So to see something sell over asking so quickly at $1.1 million for the kind of product that it was, that's kind of a crazy sale. And like, are we going back to where we were? I would be surprised, but there's these small indicators in the market that say that buyers are paying those kind of really high premiums on products now. So we'll see where this market goes. We're watching closely. This week was nothing dramatic. It was like kind of stable and actually going in the direction that we usually go in May. So we'll see what happens next week. Have a great week, everyone.